What is going on, Moto friends? As you may know, I am a huge fan of Ducati motorcycles, so anytime Ducati announces something new, my ears perk up. Today we're going to be talking about one of their newest releases, the Hypermotard 698 Mono, which is their first single-cylinder road-going supermotard. In this video, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about this motorcycle. We're going to talk about key specifications, what makes the engine so special, and at the end, we'll talk about my biggest point of contention, the price. So, if you like this type of content, be sure to hit the like button, the subscribe button, and let's get going. For the frame, Ducati went with a steel tube trellis frame with different thicknesses and cross sections. For the swing arm, it utilizes a cast aluminum double-sided swing arm, which comes in at only 8.6 pounds. The wheelbase is fairly narrow at 1,443 millimeters, which improves handling. The front suspension is a lightweight and fully adjustable Marzocchi upside-down fork, which weighs only 17.8 pounds. For the rear suspension, it uses a Sachs shock absorber, which is off-road inspired and has progressive linkage. The brakes on this motorcycle are also quite good. In the front, you're getting 330mm disc brakes, which are the same size as those used on the Panigale V4. According to Ducati, these brakes were developed specifically by Brembo for the 698 Mono, and they use an aluminum flange, which reduces the weight of the brakes. Brembo also supplies an M4.32 caliber, which is driven by a radial master cylinder. The rims and tires you're getting are also quite good. You're getting the lightweight cast rims, which claim a weight reduction of approximately 1 pound. You're also getting the Pirelli Diablo Rosso 4 tires, which are quite good. These are the same tires that come on the Monster SP. For comparison, you only get the Pirelli Diablo Rosso 3 tires on the standard base Monster. With all these weight-saving components, you are getting a very light motorcycle. The stated curb weight without fuel is 333 pounds. When you take into account the 3-gallon gas tank, fully fueled, this bike will probably weigh around 350 pounds. Now let's talk about the electronics package, which does seem excellent. Ducati claims that you're getting a lot of the same controls found on the Panigale V4, but you're also getting brand new cornering ABS and Ducati wheelie control, which were developed specifically for this motorcycle. You get 4 total riding modes, including Sport, Road, Urban, and Wet. These modes can be customized by the rider. The Hypermotard 698 is also the first Ducati to offer 4 levels of anti-lock brakes. 2 of these use slide-by-brake function, which allows the rear brake to safely and repeatedly drift into corners when you're using it on track and for sports use. You're also getting 4 levels of wheelie control, with levels 2, 3, and 4 optimizing acceleration and decreasing front wheel lift. Level 1 was developed for track use and allows you to lift your front wheel. There's also an optional Ducati wheelie control that you can purchase, which helps you maintain wheelies for longer time. In addition to the base Hypermotard 698, Ducati also offers a special RVE edition. Let's take a look at what that entails. With the RVE version, you get the graffiti livery with Ducati red base color. You also get the red accents on the black rims, which does look quite nice. On the front forks, you see a 698 branding, which gives it a touch of color. Near the radiator, you see the RVE logo with Italian flag, which gives it a little bit of exclusivity. Then, on this model, you get the quick shifter as a standard feature, as compared to the base model where you have to pay extra to get the quick shifter. In terms of performance, there's really no change. You get the same horsepower and the same torque between the base model and RVE edition. If you want extra horsepower, you'll have to go with the racing exhaust, but you can also do that on the base model. Let's talk now about that single-cylinder engine. When Ducati first announced this bike, I was really excited. I'm a big fan of single-cylinder engines and smaller displacement motorcycles. I actually started riding on a BMW G310R, which was a ton of fun, but it just ended up being not enough power for me at the end of the day. So I thought this Ducati would be a great alternative. In general, single-cylinder engines and smaller displacement engines aren't as popular in the US as they are in the rest of the world. So shout out to my friends watching in India and Asia. In general, single-cylinder motorcycles are lighter weight and very flickable. I do a lot of riding on back roads and twisty roads, so I thought this would be a great alternative to my Ducati Monster. Let's take a look at those engine specifications now. As mentioned in the introduction, this is the first single-cylinder road-going supermotard by Ducati. This engine actually comes from the 1285cc Superquadro engine of the 1299 Panigale. The term Superquadro comes from the extreme bore and stroke ratio, which allows high rotation speeds to be achieved. These features allow the engine to rev to 10,250 RPM, which is higher than any other single-cylinder engine. The power is also the highest in its segment, with 77.5 horsepower at 9,750 RPM and 46.5 pound-feet of torque at 8,000 RPM. Due to the large valve diameters and high RPMs of the engine, there is significant stress. For this reason, the intake valves are made of titanium and are managed by the desmodromic system. Ducati claims that this system is so effective that it can even be used on a MotoGP bike. An issue I've seen come up with single-cylinder engines are high vibrations. And I experienced this firsthand with my BMW G310R, especially at high RPMs. There was a lot of vibration in the handlebars. The Superquadro Mono addresses this by using two balancing countershaft positioned in the engine crankcase. This significantly reduces vibrations to a level comparable to a 90-degree V-twin. Overall, you're going to get excellent performance with this engine. Ducati claims 70% of the torque is already available at 3,000 RPM, and that value never drops below 80% between 4,500 and 10,250 RPM. Now that you know about the key features and specifications, let's talk about the price. As you can see from the Ducati website, the price of the base model is $12,995 US. But remember, this model does not come with the Ducati quick shifter standard. So if you want to add the quick shifter, which I would recommend, that's going to run you an extra $335 US, bringing your total to $13,330. Then, say you want the Ducati wheelie control, which helps you wheelie longer. That's going to cost you an extra $380. But there's a catch. You cannot upgrade to the Ducati wheelie control unless you buy the racing exhaust, which costs $2,900. So that will take your price up to $16,610 US before any prices and any fees. Now, let's take a look at the RVE edition and see what that costs. The base price of that motorcycle is $14,495 US, but at least it comes with the quick shifter standard. Now, let's say you want to add the racing exhaust system. Again, that's going to run you $2,900, bringing your total to $17,395 US. And if you want to add the Ducati wheelie control system, that again is going to cost you $380. Select that. That'll bring your cost to $17,775 US before any sort of taxes and fees are included. Now, to put that price in perspective, the Monster Plus currently retails for $12,995 US and comes standard with a quick shifter. And then for $15,695 US, you can consider the Monster SP, which is an upgraded version of the Monster and gives you the Terminione slip-on exhausts, the Öhlins front suspension, and the Öhlins front steering damper. Now, obviously, the Monster and Hypermotard are different motorcycles with different purposes. The Monster is a sports naked bike, while the Hypermotard is a supermoto style motorcycle. But I just wanted to show you the relative value of these bikes and show you what your money can get you. Price aside, I think you're getting better performance value with the Ducati Monster. You're getting more horsepower at a lower RPM. So with the Monster, you're getting 111 horsepower at 9,250 RPM, while with the Hypermotard, you're getting 77.5 horsepower at 9,750 RPM. You're also getting greater torque at lower RPM. With the Monster, you're getting 69 pound-feet of torque at 6,500 RPM, while with the Hypermotard, you're getting 46.5 pound-feet at 8,000 RPM. The weight is also fairly comparable. So the Hypermotard is lighter, quoting a wet weight, no fuel of 333 pounds. So I guess fully fueled, the Hypermotard will weigh around 350 pounds, while the Monster's curb weight is 414 pounds. Really not that big of a difference. This makes me wonder if the novelty of the motorcycle and single-cylinder engine account for the high price. So as you can see, this is not a cheap motorcycle. Initially, when Ducati announced this bike, I thought it would be a great purchase in the $10,000 range or so, but at its current price, that is not the case. I am all about value when it comes to thinking about motorcycle purchases, and this bike just does not offer enough value for me over my Ducati Monster. I'm also thinking about some of the other single-cylinder supermoto bikes that have been around, especially the Duke 690. Now, if KTM brings back that single-cylinder engine, that would be a fantastic purchase for me. Let me know in the comments, what are your thoughts on the new Hypermotard? Is this something that you're going to buy, or is this something you're going to pass on? Thanks again for watching.